3 readings every Sunday are a lot to digest, and they're often disconnected from one another. The first reading was about King David, who committed adultery and murder, one of Jesus' most favored ancestors, but God forgave him. St. Paul is giving a big talk to the Galatians, the people of the city of Galatia, about depending upon God's mercy and grace and not following laws and rules and regulations. It would be worthwhile to talk about each one of those, but we haven't got time. So we'll concentrate on the gospel as usual. And the gospel is important in this way. It tells a story, a very good story, about real people and real situations, one particular situation. But what's important about the story, about any piece of writing, is to go beneath the story. What lies behind it? What is it that motivates the people in the story, and particularly Jesus? What is it that Jesus wants to get across? To get a local, a kind of analogy with the world that we live in war, when airplanes bomb a hospital or a school or a marketplace, the people in charge call that collateral damage. Collateral. Stuff on the outside. It's not what we wanted to bomb. We wanted to bomb the enemy, but we got these others on the outside. So we really ultimately don't care about them. We care about the enemy that we did or didn't get. Collateral damage. What Jesus is saying is that in our faith community, in following Jesus, there's no such thing as collateral damage. Nobody is on the outside. Nobody who is hurt or harmed doesn't count. If any one of us is hurt, all of us in some way are hurt. Jesus points that out when he says to the man who invited him to dinner, and who was supposed to extend certain normal courtesies to him. Not ones that we would think of, but normal courtesies of the time. And the man who invited him didn't do that because he really didn't have much respect for Jesus. And Jesus says to the woman who comes and kisses his feet and bathes him with a tear, he says to Simon, "Do you see this woman?" Clearly indicated, no, you didn't see her. You don't know her for who she is. All you know is that she has a bad reputation. She's a sinner. She's somebody you don't accept. She wasn't invited to the dinner. You don't invite people like that to your home. Outcasts, nasty people. Nowadays we'd say the homeless, the ultra poor, the undeserving poor, if there are such. All of those people are what you call collateral. But Jesus is saying each and every one of these people counts and is important. There are sometimes groups of people who are forgotten about and count as being on the outside. They're collateral. There's a group of people called journalists, newspaper reporters, who tell us, who give us the truth about war and about what's happening in the world around us. And I read a figure the other day that since this country invaded Afghanistan in 2001, 25 journalists have been killed in line of duty. Journalists. We think about our military people, our soldiers, and we grieve over that loss. We grieve over the loss of many innocent people. But not many people think about journalists. Those who bring us the news, who try to be truthful and objective. 25 of these people have been killed. One of them has a name. I know his name because it was revealed in the newspaper. David Gilkey was his name. And he was killed recently in Afghanistan, where we've been fighting a war for 15 years. This one man, otherwise unknown, otherwise part of the collateral damage. We know his name. And I mention his name to you today so that somehow you may think about him and about others of his type doing the work that he has done, who have been killed, whose lives have been cut short in this terrible conflict, this catastrophe that's going on, not only in Afghanistan, but all over the world, in many parts of Africa, in Israel, Palestine. All of these things have to do with the compassion of Jesus, who looks at this woman and sees her. He looks at her and he sees her. For us as members of his body, for us as his followers, it's so important for us to see people, not just to look at them and pass on, but to see people for who they are. Who are these people? Who are in need? Who are suffering? Who in some way must be called to our attention? At the end of our celebration, Rita Mitchell is going to speak to us about another class of people, those who have been attacked and assaulted, and about the work of our diocese trying to help them. We can take little steps like this, but only if we look, and not only look, but really see, to see the people who are suffering, so many of them nearby, maybe our own neighbors. When we do that, then we look with the eyes of Jesus, not only the eyes of our own faith, but the eyes of Jesus himself. He sees each and every one of us, and he asks us to see all the others around us and treat them with the same love and compassion that he has shown to us.